Quinne, I am very excited to be interviewing you because I was reading up on you, not in a stalkerish way, by the way. I'm not a stalker. And, you know, you've had a really colourful and bubbly career.
Yeah, pretty fun.
And it's so, you know, I'm so blessed to be able to speak with you because, you know, this is the reason why I love Self-Made Girl Boss, because it gives the opportunity for other people around the world to listen into all different women in different countries, in different ages, in different industries, to be able to connect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass over the invisible mic for you to tell us who you are and what you do.
Okay. Yes, you know what? This year has been amazing, where I've really looked back upon the past 20 years of my life, and I am super excited about the life I've had the privilege to have experienced. And it was really about following what feels good, following my heart and my gut, and what feels right. And that's really it's like the combination of the mind and the heart. And so I started my career at 20 as an actress by fluke. I was in the right place at the right time. It was the last thing that I ever wanted or dreamt about. And literally, I was looking for change. I realized that I was where I didn't want to be. I was studying environmental management. Yes, I'm very passionate about the environment and about Mother Earth and our life here on this planet and how we respect it. And then I realized, but I'm a people person and I love culture and I adore story. More than anything, story keeps me alive. And I was realizing this, and I was working in a spot where they were making story. They were producing and editing documentaries and shows and pre-production on this show that I then ended up on. So I was handing the guy a whiskey, just like he liked it. You know, Donnie Woodendall, he's the producer and the founder.
I could do with a whiskey right now if you want to hand one over.
Yes, amen. Right? Except we're in what? We're not allowed to drink right now.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, South Africa, did you know that? It's ridiculous, but anyway.
Why are you not allowed to drink? What? Sorry, why?
No, it's illegal right now. The alcohol is not getting sold. We are in lockdown from cigarettes and alcohol. Yes. Can you believe it? Yes. You didn't know? Yes. Prohibition.
I did not know that.
It's real.
Do you know what's crazy? Sorry to just go off subjects just for like 2 seconds.
Yes.
Obviously, you know I'm in London, and the lockdown in London has been literally a walk in the park. In the sense that, in comparison to the other countries in the world, like for example yourself, where you really are in lockdown. My mother at the minute, she's in Colombia in South America, and you know they can't leave the house unless you're a certain. They look at your ID number, and certain ID numbers are allowed every other day. They have like a schedule, right? And here in London, which is apparently we've got the most deaths in Europe. We've got you can go to the park, you can have a picnic, you can do what you want.
Yep, not us. We are like illegals if we go for a walk in the park at a certain time of day. It is the most bizarre circumstance. And yes, somehow we managed to find the joy.
Great. So is that still the case now?
Yes, so we're waiting to hear when we can at least go out of our houses to walk our dogs and stuff. Right now we can go out between 6 and 9 in the morning for running or cycling or walk the dogs. I know, it's bizarre. It's bizarre.
It's so weird.
Very weird.
Anyway, I'm sorry to hear that. I'll have some whiskey for you. Don't worry.
You do that. A double.
So as you were saying, if we can just recap, because so many people are joining in, it's crazy. It's literally like back to back. I can feel the energy in this virtual room. So just to rewind, give me a couple of seconds of rewind of it was a fluke. You were at the right place at the right time.
Yes, so I was a student at the time, searching for what will make me feel better, because I was literally in a depression, and I realized this. It's that thing, you don't want to wake up in the morning. It's hard to move. It's like you're moving through mud, and the anxiety is super high, and it was just devastating. So I woke up one morning and I realized that I can choose. I'm not being forced into anything. We always have a choice. And so the moment, it was like this little light bulb that went up in my head when I woke up one morning, and I was like, oh, this is my choice. No one's making me do this. So that's what happened. And then I started looking to change my degree. And I was working at this place where they were doing pre-production, editing, producing documentaries. And I was serving the producer and the founder of Laan, the show that I'm on, his whiskey. And he grabbed my arm and he said, come for an audition. We're casting now. I'm like, first of all, what is an audition? What is a casting? I'm clueless. This is not my industry. It's not what I ever thought I'd ever do. I was the shyest girl. I wouldn't get up in front of crowds. I know people laugh at me when I say that, because
this is wonderful.
All I ever wanted was to have the confidence to step up and speak my truth, feel good about what I do, always be happy. That's what I was chasing, not knowing what would give it to me, right? And so to this day, I say that. I'm like, don't worry so much about what. Worry about why. And so literally when I realized, I went for the audition because it was something different and I had no idea. And why not? That was the attitude. And
I think that should always be the attitude, right?
Yes, it should. Then the good things come to you. So yeah, I got the part and my life changed 180 degrees.
So tell me about this show for, us here, us Brits and, Europeans and other people across the world. What channel is it on? Is it a soap?
Yes.
What part do you play? How long have you been playing it for?
So it's a soap. It's a half an hour show, 6 o'clock in the evening on one of the national it's a national broadcaster show. So it's on SABC 2. We have SABC 1, 2, and 3. So it's South African broadcaster, SABC 2, 6 o'clock. And then they have the reruns on a Sunday morning or afternoon. And so I started off 20 years ago as a waitress, Connie. And she was one of 3 girls that lived in an apartment. And it's a real reflection of South African society. A neighborhood where there is the affluent, the regular folk that owns the shops and people that come by, and everyone's relating. And it came out in the year 2000, right after we really became, a democratic society. And we were working on becoming more integrated. So it was exciting to be part of a show that was reflecting this. So an integrated society where folks of all colors and demographics were relating with each other and having relationships. And it was funny. It was more comedy than it was lighthearted. So it started off more like a sitcom. And Connie was sort of, if you think of, I think everyone knows Friends, right? So Phoebe in Friends.
Okay.
So she was a little bit like off the wall ditzy Connie, stumbling, dropping things, falling in love with every guy on set. I think I kissed every single one of them.
How lovely.
Yeah.
Thank goodness the coronavirus wasn't around then.
Thank goodness. So yeah, she's a loving character. I was on the show for about 5 years and then I left. I left for 10 years. I lived in the States. And then I came back in 2016. And I've now been back. Yes, back to the show. Yes. People are like, what? I'm like, it's family.
It
It's a great
is.
platform. It's a beautiful set, and there's a lot of change, and I like change. So it wasn't like going back to the same show. Now it's a drama. It's much more based on real life. So we tackle issues like AIDS and violence and abuse. My character came back having been abused and having to deal with emotional abuse and stuff like that. So it was a good challenge, and it continues to be.
Someone just wrote, can you speak Afrikaan?
It's Afrikaans. That's my first language, yes.
Okay, so I love this because I love languages and I don't know how to speak it. Can you just introduce yourself in that language?
Sure. My naam is Quinne Brown en ek kom van Johannesburg af. Ek is 'n Afrikaanse meisie en is vir my baie lekker hierso.
What did you say?
I said I'm Quinne and I'm from Joburg, and I'm loving being here with you.
Oh, I love it. Oh, so nice. Okay, so I've got some questions for you. You became famous. How did you deal with that?
So weird.
How do you deal with getting recognized, you know, going to get some milk?
It's, it was very bizarre in the beginning. This is my journey with that. Was a journey. I was young and I didn't realize it wasn't something that I ever thought. Like I said, I was pretty shy and never really wanted people to know my story because I didn't feel like there was a reason to. And I was just, I guess in high school, we all have stories and it burns us, right? So it takes a while to recover from that. And so it threw me for a loop. The show is about, so we started shooting in February. In April, it started airing. And I went to the shop and people started stopping me. They're like, am I supposed to know you? Is something happening with my memory? How come I don't know you and you know me? I was so, because on set you're there for 12 hours. We don't see the show. We are, so I got like, oh my God, what's happening? And then I slowly got used to it and very overwhelmed by crowds. And then one day I was up on a mountaintop with 2 colleagues, and a bus load of people that loved the show showed up. And we were literally on the cliff, was on this one side behind me, and a wall of people in front embracing us and wanting to take photos and going crazy. And I was so overwhelmed. I nearly lost my mind, but shell-shocked. And then I came to the bottom of it and I said, how do you guys deal with this? Like, how are you so cool and calm and not shaking after an experience like that?
Right.
And I said to me, you know what? It's not about you. It's about them. And click. It was cool. It's never about me. And if I can add value or make someone else feel good about their day or happy, then
sorry, the dogs have just someone's just walked in and the dogs have just gone mental.
Shame, man. I know
I'm
the
so
feeling.
sorry. There's 3 of them and they are nightmare. They're little terrorists. I just don't know what to do with them. They're little white Maltese.
Yeah, I have one and it's a lot.
Okay, so yes, you realised that it wasn't about you, it was about them, and how you were. Marge, can you close the door, please? Sorry, I just closed the door. So that it wasn't about you, it was about them. It was about the experience that you were making them feel, right? Because, like you said, you were going on set and you were working, and you weren't watching the show. You were basically acting and making part of the show. So you're in this kind of like frame mind of doing your role, and then all of a sudden there's this world out there that is actually watching everything that you're doing inside, obviously edited, but they're falling in love with you and they're falling in love with your character, and then they start admiring you, and that's such an overwhelming feeling.
It is, yes. No, it took a while. I think My time away, because then I left for 10 years and I lived in the States, in California and San Francisco, and I had such an opportunity to just become an adult and grow up in a more free, like no eyes, no me space. And I learned a lot, and I got to play and make mistakes. And then now that I'm back, I have such a appreciation for anyone that knows me, means they're watching the show, which means I have work, which means this is great. And I just love them for watching and for being part of the journey that we create in the story.
You know, what's interesting is that, you know, a lot of people, when they are in the limelight and, you know, they do shows and films, they kind of lose themselves a little bit, and they start becoming their ego might become quite inflated, right? So, but you are so
Sure.
grounded and you're so humble. What is it that you do as a way of releasing and feeding your spirituality and your mind that keeps you so humble, so that it doesn't get the better of you? Because I guess fame can really get to some people.
I guess that's true, and you do see people get caught up in it. You know, I think I have my family has a lot to do with it, and I also lived with my mom for a long time before I got married, and she is a grounding force in my life, and so is my sister and my brother and my grandmother used to be, and I'd come home to them, and you know, I see life as it's just all experience. Nothing's better or worse, or I guess it's sort of how I see what it is, that it's not necessarily a job that's worth anything more than yours or anybody else's. I just want everyone to love what they do. I can't imagine, you know, not loving what I do. Even when I mean, I used to waitress forever. Everything, the moment it gets under my skin in a way that doesn't feel good, I'm out of there. I'll find something that gives me an experience worth my while.
Right.
And now I'm married and I have kids, and they keep me on my knees.
Do they? Sorry, I've just found one of the culprit.
Oh, how sweet pie. Hi, cutie. What's her name?
Coco.
Hoko.
Coco's more calm.
Loco.
Lola's the one that was been creating the scene. So she's okay, she's with me now, so she's happy.
She's going to be happy.
Yes. So, Quinne, you know, I always say this. In fact, I said it in a masterclass that I did on Saturday. And I said, and because it's important to be able to feed your mind with nutrition, right? Because we never stop learning as people. And, you know, whoever says they've quit learning, you know, is a fool, because even when you're 90 years of age, you know, you still learn, you never stop. So I learned that you really do have to find your gift. And,
yes,
you know, I think that if you find it, you'll find that things are so much easier to do, because you're unnatural at it, and that you'll enjoy it and you'll love it. The moment you're forcing yourself to do something that you know you can't connect with, or that you know is compromising who you are, or compromising your values and your integrity, I think you really got to have a reality check and say to yourself, is it time for me to walk out the door? And not be afraid to do that, right? Because a lot of people allow money to control them. And what they don't understand is what they're actually doing is selling themselves short. Because you see, we only live once, and as I always say, tomorrow is not promised. So I think based on that, you know, it's really important. Oh no!
Say hi to your friend, Lali. Look, say hi.
I can't. What's her name?
Josie.
Josie. She's got a similar
Josie
name to
for
me.
Joburg.
Josie.
Kyk, ons chat sommer net oor my career and about making choices in your life and stuff. Stay in. Talk with us. Sorry, someone's just asking what the interview is about.
Oh yes, please. Anyone that's watching, we can speak both languages. I'll just do the English. And and if anyone has any questions, by all means, write it in the comment box and we will answer them. So
Yes.
so I was just saying that it's so important to be able to do something that A, you're gifted at, B, that you know you enjoy and that you love, because it will come to you so very naturally, right? And you just
so
said
agree with you.
You said yourself that at the beginning, you know, you were doing something that yes, you liked, but it wasn't your passion. Would you say you're
Yes.
there now?
Yes, I think what the beauty of being able to look back, you know, there's knowledge and there's reading books and there's going to school, and then there's life, the greatest teacher of all. And I'm so thrilled to be able to look at life and go, okay, so I can see the sequence of events. And it's true what you say. We can really say now, when you really follow your gift and the ease of things, it doesn't have to be so hard. You know, people are constantly going, put in the effort, work so hard. And I'm like, if you just do what feels good, and that means, yes, you're going to do the effort effortlessly. You're gonna want to read the scripts and endless books about it. You're gonna want to find the teachers that can enhance your gift. You are going to record videos of yourself or write a play and star yourself in it, or it's going to be effortless because you're going to have so much fun doing it. And I see that now again, because as my life is moving, and my other purpose or gift or something that I love is working with mothers and women overall in transition. So I'm also a doula. And when I work with mothers during doing birth coaching, I'm on a high. I am so happy. I feel like everything in the world makes sense. And it's the same thing. So building that side of my business is a whole new journey now, because it's a deep-seated purpose. I really feel that it's important for us to regard how we treat women during pregnancy and how they carry themselves, because it has long-term effect. It's for the betterment of our society. So it's a really big passion of mine, and speaking with parents and mothers and how they treat themselves and their babies.
So do you have anything online where you can like reach out to these women, or women can reach out to you?
Yes, so I do. I just started during this lockdown because I was so worried about all the women staying home and feeding into the fear, because this is such a fear-based time. The COVID is a fear-based disease or virus, and we need to do everything we can to not feed into that, and especially women that's pregnant. So I started doing sort of a doula diary, sharing some of the things that I know can help, because the more you know, the better. Knowledge is power. And so I'm doing that. I'm sharing that on my Instagram once a week, and then I chat live with women if they want to come in with questions. And my email is doulaquinne@gmail.com for sharing their stories and putting it all together and sharing resources with them.
That's wonderful. And Quinne, what would you say to women out there that, you know, are stuck and they can't find their passion? Like, do you recommend any books?
And oh, you went quiet. Say that again.
Yeah, it went weird there. Sorry. Yeah. So, any books or anything that you can recommend that can help, you know, us women or men to pull out of a state of sadness or depression or not knowing where they're going, or just to educate themselves?
Okay. So for me, gosh, I'm trying to think of a book, because I'm a big reader and I've read so many incredible books that's moved me, and I'm trying to think of one. But as far as a practice and something to help find purpose or your gift, or sifting through that moment of darkness or muddiness, every morning get into a practice to write to yourself. even if it's blah, 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 I don't know what to write. I'm sitting here because Quinne said I should, and she said it's a good idea. Even if that's what you write, until you break through. And if you get into the practice to write to yourself every day, there's something that happens that like loosens that preconceived idea that you think the world have of you. Something happens with that pen on paper. And there's a book where I learned that from, is The Artist Way. Now I forgot who wrote it. The Artist Way. And it gives you daily practices that will help you find what you love. And it's a lot of interesting work she does with you. And it's just daily practice, small little things. And especially for women, because we all need to learn how to take care of ourselves. And really only you know what you need. And it's definitely not day in and day out lying on the couch. Sometimes it's a month, and that's okay. But you've got to get up at some point and water the garden or get in a bath. Look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm beautiful, and get on with life. There's too much to be experienced. And having it, being graceful with yourself, having grace and being forgiving, because your path is not the same as anyone else. Like, people always ask me, how do I become an actress? How do I get on CNBC a lot, right? I get that question a lot. And I'm like, honestly, if there was a recipe, I would hand it out. I would print it. I would put it everywhere for you, but there isn't, because my life is not your life. You have to find your joy. And if it's your passion, then if everything you do every day should have a little piece of that in it. You have to put action into your dreams. You have to put one foot in front of the other,
It's so right. You're so right what you're saying. I always say this to all my girls and to whoever I speak with, and that is that you have to walk before you run, number one. Number two,
True.
You can't compare yourself to other people, because
that's the worst thing.
When someone is in chapter 8, you're in chapter 1, and then 1 minute you're in chapter 10 and they're back at 3. It's just crazy. It happens. It's our journey. It's very special. It's very magical if you choose it to be, right? If you want to live your life in autopilot and you just want to get up and do the same thing every day and not expand, not read, not invest in yourself, well, I'm going to tell you that the answer to that, so the equal sign to that, is going to be pretty damn boring, okay? And you might be happy with that. Some people may be happy with that, because what my happiness is could be different to yours, etc.
Absolutely.
So,
yep.
But the chances are that it's not going to be very fulfilling, right? So I think it's really important for everyone to, first of all, don't panic about where it is you need to be. I think the first step,
please. Yeah.
I think the first step is to increase the value of you, right? Because we're all super valuable, but we can become so much more valuable. And I don't mean to a certain individual, so please, anyone that is listening to me right now, take that out of your mind. I mean valuable to yourself, investing in yourself, learning a skill, reading a book, learning a language, learning something, learning abundance, something that creates, that creates your value to increase. What would you say to that, Quinn?
No, I absolutely love it. I agree with you. And it's finding, if you follow that sensation of, oh, this is exciting. Oh, I want to learn about this. And you follow through. Oh, this is a big one for me. My dad tried to teach this to me, and I wish I'd learned it even earlier. Or I understood it, but practicing is another one. Follow through. Read the whole book. Like, if you say you're going to do something, be impeccable, even if it takes you 10 years. Not everything happens step by step. You cannot plant a seed and expect to pick the fruit the next day. And people get funny like that, especially in this instant gratification that we live in. It's like, no, be excited about watering the seed every day and actually watch it break through. And that's what you're also saying, is like, invest in yourself by if you find that acting is your dream and it's what you want to do, then act every day. Put a little video out, even if it's just for yourself. Put your camera on, get dressed, make a character happen. If you are about more serious craft and you kind of shy, read a play every day. You know, I mean, do something that feeds your passion.
Absolutely. Because you know what? There are moments when we are going to be down. You know, us women also have something called the time of the month, and that can
we have
really,
cycles. Yes.
Yeah, and you know that can really affect our moods. I know I can go crazy. So yeah, so I think, you know, and you said it, you just said it there very clearly. A key to help you snap out of any kind of bad moods and negative energy, and to continue your journey in self-investing, is gratitude. I mean,
oh yes,
stop and take a look. You're breathing. You were given life. You were given life. You can see, or you can hear, or you can talk, or whatever it may be for any individual. Be grateful for what you do have, because as I think it was Napoleon Hill that said, you know, you be grateful now and life will give you more to be grateful about.
Absolutely. I say that to my girls every day. I'm like, today, big lesson on gratitude. We were having a bit of a tiff because we're homeschooling, and it's I'm not a teacher. I'll say that to you. I can teach other kids drama and acting, but my own kids academics, no. And so I changed myself into this. We went outside and we were looking. I'm like, can we just talk about like the thing that will bring us everything, that is the key to life, that it makes magic come alive? Can we just talk about this? And we had such a fun conversation. So they're trying to figure out what I'm saying. And I'm like, it's not a trick question. And finally, my oldest comes out. She's like, Mom, is it that magic word, the magic one? I'm like, yeah. She's like, thank you. I said, yes. It is the reason we teach you thank you, because thankfulness, gratitude, gratefulness, saying thank you for everything all the time and acknowledging the blue sky. And, you know, then the world will bring you more. So it's a typical mother lesson, right? Because it's exhausting to want to, you know, they expect you to give them all of it all the time. And then it's just like, Mom, get it. I'm like, no, what? Excuse me? I'm the universe over here. I don't listen to that. So how about a please and a thank you? And maybe I'll respond.
And they learn, and I love the way that you're teaching them that. And you know what? I wish, you know, the schooling system would actually incorporate that in their daily activities, such as affirmation, you know, a few minutes to be thankful, to write lists on gratitude, you know, because these are all keys to ultimate success at the end of the day. Whatever, you know, whatever it may be, whatever you define success to be, will happen through just simple habits that we can create. And it really is magical. That is the correct word that the girls and you are using. So so Quinne, you know, how was it for you growing up in South Africa? Because you see, I live here in London, and London, we have everything at our feet, right? We really do. We're very, very spoiled here. And people here don't realize how spoiled they are, because they always want more. And what they don't actually realize is that there's places, for example, in, you know, West Africa and other areas in Africa where unfortunately that's not the case. And I think, you know, it's important to be able to speak about, you know, different situations and upbringings and, you know, cultures. So what was it like growing up in South Africa?
Oh boy, yes, it's a loaded question. I don't even know if you know how loaded it is. Hi Rensha, buy myself some time. So, you know, I came to London for a year when I was 18. I was one of those. And I got that question a lot because it was in 1998. So it was right after we became, apartheid went away and Mandela became president, thank God. And I am an African, And I grew up privileged and with my mom and my dad and my grandma, and on a big property, in a big house, lacking for very little. And in 1993, I went to a Model C high school, which meant it was a school that opened up to anybody, and we had some brown kids coming to the school, and for me that was like, of course, because I was raised a certain way, where it was still within a bubble, which makes me sad to this day. So this is why I said it's a loaded question, because whew, as an Afrikaner, there's so many layers to the bubble that was created, that we lived in. And I'm not okay with that, but I grew up in it. And so in high school, friends and other kids responded to different colored kids coming in, brown and black and Indian. And for me, I didn't see it until I saw their response to it, if that makes sense. And I remember just being absolutely dumbfounded and baffled. And I went back into diaries lately because I'm working on a project, and I found myself trying to make sense of this behavior, cruel behavior. And then dealing with my guilt today, not having stood up sufficiently to how I know myself to have a voice today, to stand up more than I did, or because I didn't necessarily call it out as much as, it's like a bullying, right? So being part of a campaign today like Braveheart, which is an anti-bullying campaign in South Africa, that's really targeting why people become bullies and then how to help the victims. And oh man, my best friends. So it's a different context. There's so many layers to it. My father grew up in a very strict Afrikaner home where my grandpa was part of the it was very racist. You can't sugarcoat this shit. You can't sugarcoat it.
You just got to say it how it is, because it's reality. It's and this is what helps other people to understand, to listen, and to open their eyes.
Yeah. So my dad grew up with that. So if my grandfather came into the house using certain language or whatever, he would say, that's not okay in my house. You got to leave if that's how you're going to be, right? And then, but I still grew up with the privilege of living in an apartheid, being the white Afrikaner. So my best friends grew up in a completely different circumstance. My bestest friend in the whole world, my soul sister, grew up in the Cape Flats in different circumstance, from a colored brown family, and yet our core value systems and the language we speak is the same. So it's interesting, right? And then my other best friend and sister comes from Soweto and Potch, which is Soweto is the townships, the southern townships of Joburg, where they relocated people away from the city when they started the segregation. And she grew up in a different circumstance, and she's Xhosa. And yet we share a similar value system, and it's just so interesting. And so when I came to London in 1998, I was so passionate about saying, but we're living in a new South Africa. And I'm only now, as an 18-year-old, understanding for the first time what a majority of the country went through. You hear how passionate I'm getting. Woo!
Go for it. Get passionate. I want you to get passionate.
It takes very little. So, I remember feeling young and stupid, but so like, you don't know what's happening in my country, and being so excited because the majority that was oppressed was getting a voice and things were becoming transparent. And I feel the same is happening right now, where a lot of bullshit is getting aired out because they can't hide it. It's as if people that's getting put into power, doesn't matter who they are or what color or whatever, the institution is the problem, not the people. And we need to get transparent. And so when the new South Africa happened and people could walk where they want to walk and be who they wanted to be, and look, problems are not over, and a lot of people still live in segregation because of poverty and the way the world was put together during that time. It was put together in a crappy, shitty way for too many people.
Right.
A few benefited, and I am one of those few. And I can't change that. And I can't say to you that I'm going to feel bad about it. I'm going to stay empowered so that I can rather say, how do I share? How do we make privilege for everyone happen? Because for a long time I lived in guilt for just the way I was brought up or the space I occupied.
The belief system that was enforced upon you.
Right? So, yeah, we all have choice.
I mean, wow.
And we've got to create choice. So I told you that's a loaded question.
I mean, I'm so happy I answered it. I mean, I can honestly feel you from here. It's intense, you know, and so raw and real. And I love that. Quinne, which moves me on to my next question, which I ask everyone, and I'm very excited to ask you because I know you're just going to give me an awesome answer. So no pressure.
What?
If you had a magic wand and you could change one thing in the world, what would it be and why?
One thing. If I could make everyone believe that there is surely enough. Really believe it. Like the sun, like you believe the sun will come up tomorrow. If you believe it that way, that there is enough, how would we respond to each other? How would we respond to sharing, to, you know,
greed,
holding on to things?
Greed,
right?
I mean,
so what if we all believe that, like, for real, that there is enough?
That is such a deep thing to think, because actually even makes me think, wow, so isn't what I have enough? Do I want more? Do I need more?
So, and the thing about this is, even if it's just because we're going to always want more. This is part of the human condition.
Right.
It's not about not wanting more, because every circumstance, there is the contrast. There is the circumstance that shows you what you don't want. I had to see that I did not want to be in environmental management or study what I was in order to ask for something different, to move towards something else. I needed to experience the loss of death to understand the depth of that sorrow and appreciate what I have in a flower growing, because it made me immediately present. The grief did. So that's never going to go away. But if we believe that we have enough of the necessary, will those that have so much excessive and has this greed to take from others, that destroys, that says, I need to protect my space because you're going to come take mine because there's not enough and you don't have enough. And what if we just believe that there is enough, so that the sharing becomes easy? Then we will cut the pie accordingly. You know, if those that believe that there is enough.
absolutely love what you're saying, because it's something that I teach in my masterclasses. I say, 80% of the world is water, right? And
Oh, yeah.
and it really is. And and apparently we're running out of water and all of this. And look, I don't know whether you believe in God. I believe in God. I'm very spiritual. It's just the way that I am. I'm a massive believer, and I believe that there is enough to go round for everyone. That you don't have to have a scarcity mindset, because what you actually do with that type of mindset is that you paralyze yourself, right?
Yeah.
Because you're stopping the growth. You're stopping photosynthesis from happening in nature, right?
It's the basic economy works on that sense. Exactly that. It's exactly that. You've got to be able to pay your dues, because then the next person can pay his dues, and then there's a natural flow. If you make a dam because you believe you've got to water only that piece, then you stop the flow of the river, and it just becomes a mess.
Exactly. Absolutely.
No.
You know how to, in our way, create this wish that you want with your magic wand is by giving freely.
I agree.
Give. And for some reason, it takes you far away from that necessity of being greedy and gluttony and wanting and mine and give me, take. I know that we're never going to be able to stop it, right? Because, we can be ambition, and where is the ceiling? Like, for example, I've always wanted to grow my businesses, and, I realize now that with that comes a great amount of responsibility, that nothing in life is free, that, everything you have to pay a price, whatever that price may be, you will find out. So you really have to act with a lot of prudence and responsibility with life, because, as beautiful as it may be, it can also be quite, temperamental, and also change in a matter
the
of
contrast
seconds.
will always show up. It's true.
Yes, absolutely. But
and that's where the growth happens, right? Don't you think?
Because again, I missed that bit.
No, I'm just agreeing. Like, when you have to understand that it comes with a price, as you said, and you have to take responsibility, accountability. It's allowing the contrast to push you into what's next, because
Absolutely.
it's like, what's next? We're gonna never stop wanting to innovate. That's just what we are doing here. We are creatives. Every single human being. If you choose to be alive on this planet, you are a creator. You are here to innovate and to be part of something. Whether it is that you are cleaning the toilets of the bank or the school or whatever, you're still creating a space where other people feel safe. You've got to take pride in whatever it is you're doing. It all has purpose. And then that's not your dream, but it's the means to that dream. You can't undercut it, and you've got to take responsibility.
Absolutely. And Quinne, I just want to thank you so much for taking this interview with me. I know that Taryn reached out, and she was like, oh my gosh, she's so kind and loving and lovely, and she said yes. And I was like, oh my goodness, we need more people like you in this world, that is not so like, I'm here and therefore I'm not going to help or be of service. You were completely the opposite, and you've given so much service. And just by being here speaking with me, and once I post this on IGTV, it's going to be amazing. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I want to say that I do hope we get to stay in touch.
Yeah, definitely.
And thank you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to talk to you, and I love what you're doing. You are creating a platform, and I think it's so powerful for women to step up for themselves and each other, and the support and the platform you create where women can support each other and, you know, just hold each other up. And the more we do that, because this is the time. This is the time where we have a voice and where women and mothers can take a breath. We don't have to fear anything because our voices are heard and the world can take a breath because the mama is back. So it's exciting times. So thank you for this platform. You're amazing.
Thank you so much. I want to give you a big kiss and keep looking up that beautiful doggy of yours and raising those girls with those magical words. I love it.
After a massive fight.
Take care, my darling.
You too. Bye-bye. Bye.